You ever feel like you're watching the end of something? Like we're living through the slow, grinding collapse of everything that once made life meaningful? Our art, our values, our education, all gone hollow. I don't know if it's the algorithms or just the age we're in, but something has changed. And the older I get, the more I feel like a ghost haunting the ruins. Well, I'm down here at the private lake again. I love this place. Wetting my, I don't know if you could see that, wetting my feet in the water. It's really gorgeous. It's past sunset, so it's getting dark quickly. The lake was actually closed when I got here, but I couldn't drive in, but I just kind of walked around the fence. So yeah, where I live, in my community, there's about 30 homes, and we pay annually for this. We have our own private lake, and it's kind of cool. The first year I lived here, I never even came down here. But little lake with boats, small beach. There's a lifeguard usually on duty during the day, I think up until 6 p.m. And it's very rural, very country. And the best part about living here is I'm 45 minutes from Midtown Manhattan. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. I really didn't come here today to talk about the lake. I've been very depressed lately. The older I get, the more depressed I've been getting. And it's not just a question of being depressed because I'm aging, because I'm getting older. I mean, that in and of itself can be depressing. But it's kind of like our whole culture has changed so much in the last 15 or 20 years. And that's really the depressing part. Things aren't the way they used to be. And they never will be. It seems like we're headed towards a void of humanity. And it's really scary. You know, there was a time when knowledge was admired, when literature mattered, when kids wanted to be poets and philosophers. Now it's about how fast you can scroll, how much content you can consume, and how little you have to think. When I was just starting college, I wanted to be a philosophy major. That was really my interest, philosophy. And it didn't work out that way. I just never pursued it. Although I have read enough philosophy to know a thing or two about it, I think. And the times we're living in would make the great philosophers of Western civilization really, if they could see it, they'd be spinning in their graves. And I reference Western civilization a lot, and that's not out of prejudice or a dig to Eastern civilization or what have you. But let's face it, Western civilization is where all the great thinkers came out of. High culture, high society, high art. It all came from Western civilization. In the 15th, 16th century, in what is now considered the United Kingdom, what were they doing in any of the Eastern countries? So Western civilization is really where our culture came from as Americans, as Australians. I know I have a lot of Australian viewers, so that's why I reference Western civilization quite a bit. But it's a sad time we're living in. We no longer create, we curate. We no longer study, we Google. Even our relationships have become transactional. Love is on an app. Art is a meme. And truth is whatever gets the most clicks. Let's face it, education is no longer about truth or beauty or the pursuit of wisdom. It's about utility, ROI. What job can you get from this degree? How will this expand your soul is what the real question should be, not what kind of job you can get or how much money you can make. When I went to graduate school for fine art, making money was the furthest thing from my mind. And maybe that's why I'm in the financial condition I'm in today. Probably is, but I don't, I try not to live in the future. I try to live in the moment. As the Buddhists say, you can't really live in the future, and you can't live in the past because the past really doesn't exist anymore. All you have is the present moment. And the present moment, as soon as you think about the present moment becomes the past. So it's just a merry-go-round of life. I would have loved to have been born in the 18th or 19th century. I think I would have been much happier in those times. I probably would have had to work much harder, meaning manual labor work. You were either a lord or a serf, right? And being born a lord was not so easy back then. Not something anyone had control over. But I digress. So we stopped aspiring to greatness. That's the point I'm trying to make. We stopped aspiring to greatness and we started aspiring to convenience. Everything is about convenience today. Everything. And that might be the saddest trade we've ever made. I can't sit here. The mosquitoes are eating me alive. Got to keep moving. Wow, look at that sky as the sun's starting to go down. It would probably be cool to be here at night. I can see the swarms. The camera's not going to pick it up, but I could see the swarms of mosquitoes, at least that's what I think they are, on the lake. Well, as long as they stay on the lake and they stay away from me, I'll be happy. Growing older in the middle of a cultural decline. And it's not just a cultural decline. When people say, oh, we're in a cultural decline, that sort of implies that it's an up and a down and it's going to go back up. It's not coming back. We're not coming back from this. It only gets worse from here. I feel sorry for our kids and their kids. It's really sad. I still remember when music mattered, when you sat in silence and you listened to an album, really listened. Now it's just background noise for TikTok dances. I still read paper books. I still write by hand. And when I talk to young people, sometimes I feel like I'm from another planet. If you're over 50, you know that feeling. I feel like I'm on a planet where we were allowed to be bored, to dream, and to fail. Aging used to come with wisdom. Now it feels like it's more like obsolescence, to be honest. And I'm not just being nostalgic here. You know, our parents, we've had parents and uncles who would say, oh, remember when I was a kid, things were done like this, and when I was growing up. It's not that. It's definitely not that. I'm just aware that something has been lost. Something really important has been lost. And it's the soul of humanity. So what do you do in the face of all this? You resist. You quietly, stubbornly resist. You read things that weren't written for an Instagram profile. You support artists who still bleed into their work. You go to a play. You listen to a symphony. You walk without your iPhone. Go out, go for a walk, leave the phone home. You write with a pen. You accept the ache of growing older. You make peace with the fact that you won't understand this world. And maybe that's the greatest sign that you're still human. Because the algorithm doesn't want you to feel. It wants you to consume. And growing older, if you do it right, means feeling everything more deeply, not less. That's what being a deep thinker really means. You see what other people can't see. You hear what's not said. It's easy to hear what is said, but you hear what's not said. You look in the shadows for answers. That's what a deep thinker is. And to be a deep thinker today is really, really hard and isolating and depressing. So maybe Western civilization won't collapse all at once. Maybe it'll just slowly fade away and be replaced by something shinier but emptier. But we don't have to fade with it. We can still carry something forward, even if it's just a memory of what mattered. And maybe that's enough. Maybe remembering is a kind of rebellion. Thanks for listening. If you ever felt this way, leave a comment. Subscribe if you want more. The soul still matters, even if the world forgets. Hit the like button. You can buy me a coffee if you want. And I'm going to keep making more of these. So until next time, peace.